Hey there guys, my name is Lummox Jr, or LJ as it is now, and we're going to be starting a new series today. As you can see, we're on FIFA 21, or FIFA 22, or FIFA 20, or FIFA 19, or FIFA 18, whichever number you see best fit, because they're basically the same game anyway. And we're going to be starting a new challenge that I like to call the Country Randomizer Challenge. That name definitely is not going to stick, Jesus. Allow post me to explain the rules of this challenge. So here are the rules for this challenge. We'll be using FIFA 21, but don't worry, FIFA 21 and FIFA 22 are basically the same game, so there shouldn't be a huge difference. Every week, we will be choosing a team to manage based off of their in real life situation or personal inspiration. We will have unlimited funds, but there is a catch. We can only sign players from 4 select nations. The first 3 nations will be decided by Siri, while the 4th I will decide. We will only be able to sign players from these nations. There has to be a player from each country selected. Players already in the squad and the starting youth academy players do not apply to the rule, and if a nation selected has no players, the selection does not count and Siri will be used again. Once the team is assembled, we will sim through a season and see the league position along with any trophies our team may have won. We will be placed in the Champions League and in the country of the team's location's top division if needed, so we can see how well our wacky super team fares against Europe's elite. Now, let's get to the countries. So now that we've gone through that, the first club that we will be doing this for is FC Barcelona, who are in a financial rut in the real world. They're being led by former club legend Xavi. Thought, why not give them the 500 million treatment where they can only sign players from 4 select countries. Let's get into this rebuild. To be honest, I'm not sure if this challenge is going to be good or it's just going to bomb. It could go either way, but I think this could be pretty fun. Obviously depends on if the countries I get me to sign some fucking stupid players, but we'll see. So here we are on the main screen. Now, as per the rules of this challenge, we will be using Siri 3 times to ask for a random country, and whatever countries that we get, we will be signing players from those countries along with a country of our own choice based on whatever we see fit. So without further ado, let's see what Siri has to say. Okay, Siri is acting up, so instead we're going to use a random country generator. So random country generator, the first country that we will be getting is Pakistan. Okay, they probably have players, but the question is how much pain am I going to be in? Doesn't look like they have any players. No, Pakistan do not have any players, so again, the selection is going to be null and void. Alright, first selection yet again. Ooh, good country. We have now just got Russia. I know that Russia have players, and I know that they have some decent players, but let me just check up for a second, just so I can get an exact measurement on what players we're working with here. But just a lot of solid players that we have here. We've got the Safanov guy, he's a young goalkeeper, but I don't think he's going to be available because he's in the Russian national team, but not in the actual game itself. So we've got some decent players that we can work with here. So the first country is Russia. So the next nation is going to be the African nation known as Togo. Now I'm looking up, it's not all dire. They have an 81 rated player, but he is also 29, so he should be able to give us a decent season in that centre back role. Second country, not all bad. On to the third country. Third country we'll be able to sign players from will be South Africa. Right now, what footballers do we have from South Africa? Ooh, it's not looking great for them, but hey, I mean, yeah, no, it's not good. It is not good at all. So we get to decide a nation based around that. If we're looking at the squad, it's going to have to be a pretty strong nation. What do we need? We're probably going to need defenders because we're going to be simming through the games. By the way, I'm using the 4-3-3. So we're going to need a centre forward. Most likely you're going to need some centre backs as well. So the country I think I'm going to go for will be, it sounds sweaty, but I'm going to go for France because that sorts out the centre forward well. Or we can just sign a striker, and I think everyone knows what striker we'll be signing. But just remember, just because we pick France doesn't mean that we can just create a France super team out of that. We also have to sign at least one player from each of the countries that we have and put them either on the starting 11 or on the bench. So, oh, that's going to be fun. So I will be seeing you once I have got my desired transfer targets sorted out. So here's the players that I have lined up to possibly sign. So remember, our 4 nations are Russia, Togo, South Africa, and the nation that I chose, which is France. Now obviously, considering that I've chosen the nation, and obviously I want it to be a very good one to compensate for the possible lack of quality that may come from the 3 nations that were given to me, most of these players are going to be France. However, I have lined up at least one player from each of the nations. Anyways, for Togo, we've got this Gini guy. He's got good traits on him. 28. He could do well for like a backup centre back or just like a full rotation. And then you've got this Bubu guy. Could be a decent backup that we may need, but we've already got Ansu Fati on the side. So, and then Luther Singh could do the same job as well, and also fill up the South Africa role. As for all the French players, well, I've just tried to cover pretty much everything that I may want in this squad. So, without further ado, let's get into signing some of these players. Oh yeah, I just told you I pick out Real Madrid, and what are you going to do about it? The first player that I'll be going in for here is Real Madrid, or formerly Real Madrid's Raphael Varane. He's French, so he fits the country restrictions. He's a centre back, which is what we need, and with the unlimited funds, I reckon we'll be able to get him for a good deal. So we've just got ourselves a world-class defender in the form of Raphael Varane from Real Madrid, but we will live with that for the challenge. Next player I want to bring in is a player that's going to be able to help us with the Russian goal. He's a decently young player, so we might be able to use him as a backup and get some growth into him over the one season that we'll be doing. It's the player known as, it's Monaco's youngster Alexander Golovin. So let's try and bring him in. We could try a swap deal, maybe a likes of Ricky Puig or other players that I'm not interested in using. So we'll go in, see if we can get a good deal. What if we just go straight swap, Roberto for Golovin. I'll go Roberto and 10.3. We can accept that. We'll take that. That's a pretty decent deal. Hopefully that'll go through in terms. Hopefully Roberto will at least negotiate with AS Monaco. So we need a competent centre back to place alongside a Raphael Varane. Now I think this Dejeuner guy, he's from Togo, so he fits the goal, and he's got shit tons of traits as well. He's on 28, so he's nearing his prime, but he should be able to give us that decent either backup role or alongside the much better centre back, Raphael Varane role that we need. So let's go in and see if we can get Dejeuner for a decent sum. And that has been our what country was it? We have our Togoese, I don't know what the pronoun is for it, but a player from Togo is going to be in the squad. We're going to sit with a South African player with a player who has a name that I simply cannot pronounce, but he should be a decent attacking backup, so if we need him. Obviously not the best option in the world. He's got a decent trade, but in terms of South Africa, they're not great footballers. Rugby players, yes, but not exactly football. So we're going to see if we can buy Lorch from Orlando Pirates, and I'll see you once the negotiations are underway. Alright, yeah, we can get him for. I still feel like I'm overpaying his wages significantly, but yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. As for the last signing, I want to bring in a player that's just going to boost up the rating of the squad significantly on the attack. So I'm thinking, why not bring in Kingsley Coman? He's French, so he fits the objective. And it would be cool to have a front three of all French players, that being Dembele, Griezmann, and of course Kingsley Coman if we can sign him. So let's go in, let's approach Bayern Munich and offer their French attacker. I may have offered a bit too much in the wage demands, but you know what, I think he's worth it. Personally, but hopefully I won't get sacked for that. So here is the team that I've assembled with the nationality restrictions in mind. This team does look pretty good, but hopefully, and this is a very big hopefully, the sim doesn't mess me over, and we'll do pretty well in domestic and European competition. We're at the end of the season now, so what we're going to do is we're going to start from the bottom and we're going to scroll up and see where Barcelona, with this extremely odd and extremely unorthodox nation transfer policy, have finished in the league. We are not relegated, so that's a good start. We're in the top 10, good to know. We've got European football for our next season, that's never going to come. We're above 6, we're in the Champions League, 4th, 3rd. Have we won the league? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes! Let's go! Oh, alright, so we're scrolling through. We lost the Super Copa, made it to the final though. We lost Copa de España, made it to the final though. We bombed out of the Champions League, and ironically the two teams that made it to the final were the two teams that are two other big teams that are in our country, being Spain. We bombed out of the Champions League round of 16 to Red Bull Leipzig, despite winning the first leg. We were able to win La Liga, and by pretty decent margins from Madrid as well, so overall, pretty good season. Not a bad start for the first time that we've done this challenge. We'll learn things as we go on and we'll develop rules along the way. But if you guys did enjoy this first part of this little series that I'm doing, then we'll be doing this weekly, so smash a like, be sure to subscribe, and there's no random statistic that I can use to show that only like 12% of the people watching are actually subbed, so just subscribe anyway if you like. If you don't want to, then that's fine, but hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.